Throughout the years, Nintendo has always dominated the handheld gaming market, a market that it largely pioneered with its Game Boy system in the late 80s and early 90s. However, its competitor Sega was not far behind with its own handheld system, the Sega GameGear. The GameGear was a very powerful handheld system with full-color graphics and stereo sound, and plenty of games featuring their popular characters like Sonic the Hedgehog and the Streets of Rage franchise. But over the years, how have these games compared with their rivals for the Nintendo Game Boy? Do they still hold their value? Are there any hidden gems? Well, that's exactly what we're going to look at today as we count down the top 25 most valuable Sega Game Gear games. What's up, Internet? I'm Technohead. Welcome back to my channel. This is the next episode in my series Pixels to Polygons, where we take a look at the value of classic video games released for systems in the 1990s and early 2000s. In this episode, we're stepping back into the world of handheld gaming and taking a look at Sega's Game Gear. Sega's Game Gear handheld system was a competitor at the time to the Nintendo Game Boy and differentiated itself by a brightly backlit, very colorful screen and stereo sound. And while it was known as a battery hog, consuming 6 batteries in about 4 to 5 hours, it was a fantastic system with plenty of games for any Sega fan, from Sonic the Hedgehog, Shining Force, Streets of Rage, and plenty of fantastic sports titles. I don't want to spend too much time talking about methodology in this video. I've already gone over that quite extensively in a previous video that we did on the Sega Genesis. But briefly, we're taking a look at the historical price guides from the website of Game Dude, a local Los Angeles retro game retailer, and comparing them to the current prices on their price list today, and finding out which games have had the largest percentage increase in value over the last 20 years. We're also including Rarity from RarityGuide.com to see if Rarity plays any part in the value of these classic games. If you like this video, we've already created several others that you might also like to check out as well. We've taken a look at the Nintendo Entertainment System, the Sega Genesis, the TurboGrafx 16, the Atari Lynx, and the Nintendo Game Boy. But let's not waste any more time. Let's take a look at the top 25 most valuable Sega Game Gear games. Starting off the list, we have the sequel to the classic arcade game Strider, Strider Returns. Strider Returns is a medium rarity game for the Sega Game Gear at a 46 on Rarity Guide. In 2004, a copy of Strider Returns cost $13 at Game Dude, and today it costs $26, which is a 100% increase in value for Strider Returns. Every handheld system needs a good slate of puzzle games, and that's represented here by Gearworks. Gearworks is a puzzle game where you try to connect together different cogs in different parts of a machine to solve puzzles. Back in 2004, a copy of Gearworks would sell for only $7. It's not especially rare at a 52 on the Rarity Guide, but today a copy of Gearworks would cost you about $14, which is a 100% increase in value. Then we have another great game for the handheld. This is Devilish. Devilish is kind of a cross between Arkanoid and maybe something like a scroller like Commando or something like that. You control a paddle and you're breaking bricks and then moving along a path and fighting enemies and stuff like that. It's a fun game. It cost $13 back in 2004, and today it would go for $26, which is a 100% increase in value. That's followed up by Deep Duck Trouble at number 22. A medium rarity game at a 42. This game, starring Disney's Donald Duck, was going for about $7 back in 2004. But today, if you wanted to pick up a copy, you'd have to spend $14, and that is a 100% increase in value for Deep Duck Trouble. Then we've got the extremely metal Chakan, which is a An action game featuring a dark protagonist with two swords hacking and slashing his way through a medieval castle. This game was a $7 game back in 2004, and today, if you wanted to pick up a copy of Chakan, you'd have to spend $14, which is a 100% increase in value. Then we have a spin-off game from the Golden Axe series. This is Axe Battler, A Legend of Golden Axe, which is an interesting overhead kind of RPG game, sort of similar to Axelay, where you go into like side-scrolling action segments. This was a $13 game back in the day, but today, to get a copy of Axe Battler, A Legend of Golden Axe, you'd have to spend $26, and that's a 100% increase in value. We have a medium rarity game with a 54. This is Predator 2, the game based on the Predator 2 film. This game was an $18 game back in 2004 for this kind of side-scrolling action game based on Predator 2. Today, a copy of Predator 2 goes for $39. That is a 117% increase in value. At number 18, we have a port of Earthworm Jim. This is a real ubiquitous classic on many consoles back in the 90s, and it's represented pretty well here with some good animation and sprite work. This was an $18 game back in 2004, and today in 2024, a copy of Earthworm Jim is going for $39, and that is a 117% increase in value. We have a really fun game, Captain America and the Avengers. This is a side-scrolling superhero-based beat-em-up. It was an $18 game back in 2004, and this game, which allows you to play as Iron Man or Vision or Captain America or Hawkeye, goes for $39 today, which is a 117% increase in value. That's followed up by Cliffhanger, another game which had many ports on many different systems in the 90s. It's based on a Sylvester Stallone movie. This is a medium rarity game at a 47. It was only going for $10 back in 2004, but today, if you wanted to pick up a copy of Game Dude, you'd have to shell out $22, which is a 120% increase in value for Cliffhanger. That's followed up by the reptilian brawler Battletoads. This game is a little more rare than some of the other games we've already seen on this list at a 68 on Rarity Guide. This was a $22 game back in 2004, and today if you wanted to pick up Battletoads, you'd have to spend $49, which is a 123% increase in value for Battletoads. Then we have Jungle Strike, which is a series of helicopter combat games which saw many different releases on Sega systems in the 90s. This is Jungle Strike, which is the sequel to Desert Strike. It has a rarity of 73, making it very rare for the system. It was $13 20 years ago, and today a copy costs $29, which is a 123% increase in value. Then we have Wolfchild, which is listed on their price guides, although I don't think this was released in North America. So as you can see here, I've got the European cover of the box art. This game was being sold for $13 back in 2004, but today if you wanted to pick up a copy of Wolfchild, you'd have to spend $34, which is a 162% increase in value. And this game is not listed on rarityguide.com. At number 12, we've got Crystal Warriors, a game which I admittedly hadn't played until I made this video, but it kind of has a Shining Force vibe, so I'm definitely going to go back to it, as Shining Force is one of my favorite games. It's a medieval tactical RPG, was $18 back in the day, and today in 2024, you'd have to spend $49, which is a 172% increase in value for Crystal Warriors. Then we have a game of relative rarity. We have Arena Maze of Death. This game was a $25 game back in the day, and it's a pretty fun game. This is another game I hadn't played until I made this video, and definitely would go back and check it out again. Kind of reminded me of Syndicate a little bit. Today, if you wanted to get a copy of Arena, you'd have to spend $69, which is a 176% increase in value. That's followed by a very, very rare game for the GameGear. This is Junction. Junction is a puzzle game, kind of like Pipeworks. Back in 2004, a copy of Junction was going for about $10. But today, if you wanted to pick up a copy, you'd have to shell out $29, which is a 190% increase in value. And it's not a really expensive game, despite the fact that it is one of the more rare games on this list. Then we have a Sega classic, Alien Syndrome. This is a port of the arcade game. This game is another game that I'm not sure if it actually had a North American release, as it was not listed on rarityguide.com, and I couldn't find box art for it, so I'm using the European box art. But it is listed on Game Dude's website, where it was being sold for $13 in 2004. And today, if you wanted to pick up a copy of Alien Syndrome, you'd be spending $39, which is a 200% increase in value. At number 8, we've got a really cute and fun game. This is Tempo Jr. I know there's a guy on the Retro RPG forums that collects Tempo games, and it's obvious to see why, because the artwork is fantastic and the character is fun. Tempo Jr. was going for $18 back in the day, and today if you wanted to pick up a copy, you'd have to spend $59, which is a 228% increase in value for Tempo Jr. Then we've got another game in the Strike series. This is a sequel to the game we saw previously, Jungle Strike. This is Urban Strike, which is a very similar game, just a slightly different setting. This game was going for $13 back in 2004, and the price has gone up a little bit. Today, if you wanted to get a copy of Urban Strike, you'd have to spend $49, which is a 277% increase in value for a game that is very rare for the GameGear. Next, at number 6, we have Defenders of Oasis, a game that's relatively rare at a 68 on Rarity Guide. This is kind of an Arabian Nights themed RPG. Back in 2004, a copy of Defenders of Oasis was going for $13, but today in 2024, if you wanted to pick up a copy, you'd be spending $49, which is a 277% increase in value. Then we've got a spin-off Sonic the Hedgehog game. This is Tails in his own game, Tails' Adventure. You play as Tails and you're throwing bombs and flying around various different stages, side-scrolling stages. This game was an $18 game back in 2004, and it's gone up quite a bit. It's actually going for $69 today if you want to get a copy of Tails' Adventure. That's a 283% increase in value, and a very rare game to boot. That's followed by a game that is not very rare. This is Micro Machines at number 4. It has a rarity of 26, and despite the fact that it is not very rare for the Sega GameGear, it's one of the more expensive games on this list at $18 back in 2004, and it's going for $69 today, which is a 283% increase in value for Micro Machines. Then we have a game which is sort of an inexplicable point-and-click adventure on the GameGear handheld. This is Cosmic Spacehead. This game is relatively rare at a 70 on Rarity Guide. Back in 2004, a copy of Cosmic Spacehead was going for $18, and today in 2024, if you wanted to pick up a copy, you'd be spending $69. Nice! And that's a 283% increase in value. At number 2, we have the shameless Castlevania ripoff Vampire Master of Darkness. This game is relatively rare at a 62 on Rarity Guide, but it is a fun game despite being somewhat derivative. I had fun playing it for the capture here. It was $10 in 2004, and in 2024, a copy of Vampire Master of Darkness is going for $39, and that is a 290% increase in value, just edging out some other games. But now, we're looking at number 1. What will it be? That's right, Mega Man, an extremely rare game on the Game Gear. This is one of those times where the rare game turns out to be the most expensive, and this is that case. This is a $40 game back in the day, and today if you wanted to pick up a copy of the board of Mega Man for the Game Gear, you'd have to spend $799. By far and away the most expensive game on the system. That's a 2,397% increase in value for Mega Man. And there you have it, the top 25 most valuable Sega Game Gear games. What did you think? Was there anything on the list that surprised you? Or was there anything not included on the list that you would have expected to see? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel and checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, we already have several in a playlist ready to go for you to go and watch now. And next week, we'll be back with another exciting episode. That will be on the Neo Geo MVS and AES system. It's a fantastic system with so many awesome games, you're definitely not going to want to miss it. So, click the subscribe button and make sure to tap the bell icon as well, so that you'll be notified when that video drops next week. And while you're there, please leave a like on this video as it helps out the channel and I really appreciate it. That's it for today. We'll see you next time when we take a look at the Neo Geo MVS. Until then, this is Technohead signing off.
We have guidance internal. 10, 9, 8, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engines running, commit. Liftoff. We are so sorry. 11:22 a.m. Standard time. Keep Conrad reports that your program is in. Altitude at 1/2 mile.